This story is about a woman who broke all the rules and boundaries of society, just for her love, and entrusted her entire life to a 15-year-old boy. This is a very beautiful story that will make you think about many things. The story begins in Berlin, where we see a man named Michael, who was a lawyer by profession. There's also a girl with him who tells him that they should meet again in the evening, but Minghella declines, saying that he has to go meet his daughter today. He then looks out the window, and outside it was raining heavily. And that's when we see it was the year 1958, when Michael was only 15 years old. He was on a bus going somewhere, but suddenly he starts feeling unwell, so he gets off the bus and starts vomiting. He sits down on a nearby chair, and then, passing by, a lady named Hanna, who was a tram conductor, approaches him and offers him water, but Michael starts crying upon seeing her. Hanna hugs him and reassures him that it's okay, it's just a minor vomiting episode. Afterwards, Hanna leaves from there. Hanna's behavior like this mesmerizes Michael. On the way back home, he was only thinking about Hanna. After coming home, when his mom learns about his condition, she immediately calls a doctor for a checkup. The doctor reassures them that there's nothing to worry about and he will be fine in a short time. After that, Michael tells his mom about Hanna, and says that she helped him. His mom tells him that he should thank her for that. So, that same evening, Michael goes back to the same place where he first met Hanna. And luckily, they meet there again. Michael hands her a bouquet of flowers and says, "I was on bed rest for a few days, so I couldn't come here. Thank you for helping me." Hanna responds by saying, "It's nothing." After a while, Michael starts to leave, but Hanna says, "Wait, I'll walk with you. I have to go to work." Afterwards, sitting outside the hall, Michael starts to secretly watch Hanna, but Hanna notices this, so Michael gets scared and runs away from there. But he was still thinking about her, so the next day, he goes to her house again. He stands outside the house, and as soon as she comes out, she sees Michael, but Hanna doesn't say anything. Instead, she asks him to bring some coal. After a while, he brings the coal up, but some soot gets on his face, which she laughs at. This makes Michael feel good because he had started to develop feelings for Hanna. Hanna tells him to bathe there so he can clean his clothes himself. But Michael doesn't realize that the feeling he has for Hanna is mutual. Hanna also has similar feelings for him. And so, they both draw closer to each other. But at one point, Hanna hesitates and she comes to a stop. Now, after returning home, Michael's mind is filled with thoughts of Hanna. The moments they spent together keep replaying in his mind, and despite his efforts, he couldn't forget her. So, immediately after school ends, he heads straight to her house, and they both are intimated for the first time. In such a short time, Hanna had developed a different kind of love for him, which she perhaps couldn't share with anyone else because if anyone found out about it, people might question her character. On that day, Michael tells her that he is learning the Latin language and will start writing poetry in a few days. Hearing this, Hanna becomes very happy, and she listens to some Latin poetry from him, which she also enjoys a lot. Hanna then tells him that his reading is very good. However, this statement feels very strange to Michael because no one had ever told him this before. But now, he is happy because he has realized that there is also some goodness inside him. 2 weeks pass by, and they continue to meet each other every day. One day, Michael goes to meet Hanna on her tram, which she doesn't like because she didn't want to tell anyone about it. She starts feeling very embarrassed. The next day, when he goes to her house, they have a heated argument about the incident. In her anger, Hanna tells him to leave, and Michael also steps out. However, instead of heading home, he remains standing there and starts crying because he realized that Hanna is upset with him. That's why he waits for a while, then goes back in and apologizes to her. But Hanna wasn't saying anything in response, so he says again, "I'm sorry. I messed up. I promise it won't happen again." Hanna also loved him, so she forgives him. After that, he goes and sits on the bed. But here, Hanna asks him, "Which book have you brought today?" He replies, "I haven't brought any book today." Hearing this, Hanna gets angry again and says, "Now, when you bring a book, then we will talk further." So the next time they meet, Michael reads her a book, and upon hearing it, she starts crying. There's a different kind of pain in Michael's voice that she feels, something she had never felt before. So she keeps asking him repeatedly to read the book to her, and he does. Here, both of them were really enjoying each other's company. One day, Michael asks her if she would go on a bike trip with him. He suggests that they could spend more time together and no one there will even recognize them. After a long time, Hanna finally says yes, which makes Michael very happy, and he goes home to pack all his things. The next day, they both set out for the trip, which was supposed to be for 2 days. Michael had lied to his family that he was going for a school picnic. Now, they enjoy each other's company in a beautiful town and then sit down at a restaurant to eat. However, Hanna finds it difficult to order anything here. She feels very strange here with Michael, or perhaps she doesn't know the reason herself. Therefore, Michael orders for her what he was planning to eat himself. As they leave, the owner of the restaurant tells Michael, "I hope your mom enjoyed the meal." The owner felt as if Hanna was Michael's mom, so Michael kisses Hanna in front of the owner, and the owner gets her answer. Afterward, they both drift back into their own thoughts once more. Michael wasn't fearful of anything in this moment, but Hanna appeared to be uneasy about something, but she didn't say anything to Michael. They both go and sit near a lake where he tells Hanna that he has written a poetry which he will recite to her in a few days. The story unfolds in the present, and we see adult Michael. He smiles as he watches that poetry, which he wrote for Hanna. His court hearing is also scheduled for today, so he immediately heads to the court. Here, I want to tell you one thing. As much as this story will make you happy in the beginning, its ending will be equally heartbreaking. The scene shifted and we see young Michael had returned from the trip. There was also a girl in his school, whose name was Sophia, who likes him a lot. But Michael was busy thinking about Hanna. Therefore, he doesn't even stop at her request and goes to meet Hanna, where he continues to read the same book to her that he has been reading for the past 6 months. Now, when that day arrives and Hanna is at her job, her senior comes to her and informs her that based on her excellent performance, the commission has promoted her to the railway. However, upon hearing this news, Hanna doesn't seem particularly happy. You might have noticed that since the beginning of this story, Hanna has always had a sense of fear on her face, and even today, we see the same. That's why she quietly returns home. Sophia invites Michael to his birthday party, but he declines. Upon hearing this, Sophia is very distressed, but Michael doesn't care much about it. He rushes to Hanna's house, but he notices that she seems worried about something unknown. Seeing her like this, Michael asks her about the reason, but she doesn't tell him anything, leading to an argument between them. However, after some time, they apologize to each other. And 2 days later, when he goes to her house again, he sees that the entire house is empty, and Hanna is nowhere to be found. He couldn't understand where she suddenly went, but the reality is that she has now left the house. But why she left, that secret went with her. Now, somewhere deep down, Michael feels that perhaps it's because of him that she left the house. Since her departure, Michael had stopped laughing, talking, and had withdrawn from everything. He mostly spent his time alone. Once, he even attempted to suicide, but he couldn't do it. Then the scene shifts and we see adult Michael again. He is sitting alone in court. That's when his junior approached him and informed him that his daughter was coming today. He immediately goes to meet her, and here we find out that Michael got divorced 3 years ago. But who he married, it will only be revealed to us in the end. Now he meets his daughter and talks a lot with her, after which he leaves her home. In the past, Michael's life had slowly started moving forward. Whatever he had seen and felt, perhaps he had forgotten it all. And at this time, he is studying law. Michael resides in the same college hostel where he is also attracted to a girl named Julia, but he is afraid to tell her about his feelings. One day, some children were taken on a trial for such practice, and Michael was also present. But to his surprise, the case was not someone else's but Hanna's, and today, he was seeing her almost after 10 years. Time had changed him, but perhaps the love for Hanna still remained in his heart. He was just looking at Hanna, and he couldn't figure out what to do. Afterwards, we come to know that in reality, when Hanna left her job, she started working for a Nazi Germany and she burned about 300 Jewish women alive in a church. Hanna claims that she received orders from her seniors to do so. The judge asks, "You were being promoted in your previous job. Why did you refuse to take it?" To which she responds, "I was earning more money there, so I quit that job." Now we see some other women who used to work with Hanna there. The next day in the hearing, the judge presents a book and explains that it is written by a survivor woman from that camp. After that woman is called in, she identifies all the women. But the women sitting there put all the blame on Hanna and say that she was the one who set the fire. And Hanna firmly denies, saying that she didn't do anything like that. On that day, Michael also goes to the place where the incident occurred, and everything there is still the same as before. After a few days, the day of the hearing arrives and a report is presented to the judge containing Hanna's signatures. However, she denies writing it, but all the women accuse her. Now, the judge gives her a blank paper and a pen so that her handwriting can be matched. But she remains silent, and here Michael starts to remember why she left her desk job. Why did she always encourage him to read books? Why was she scared that day when ordering at the restaurant? It was all because Hanna didn't know how to read and write, and that's the reason she declined that promotion. She always kept this fact hidden from everyone so that no one would make fun of her, and today, to conceal this truth, she is even willing to take the blame for that crime in court, which she never committed. Michael knew the truth. He could have gone and spoken up, but he also decided to sit there. Afterwards, he discussed with his professor about everything concerning him and Hanna, and he requests professor to ensure justice for Hanna. He then fixes a meeting with them, and they agree. We see that everyone has come to meet the prisoners, and Michael also comes here, but he returns halfway. He just couldn't muster the courage to meet Hanna, to make eye contact with her. 3 days later, everyone is back in court. This time, the judge sentences Hanna to life imprisonment, and all the other women receive a 4-year sentence. Upon hearing this, Michael starts crying right there, and somehow, Hanna notices him. The story now progresses, and it's the year 1976. Michael has grown up, and he also has a daughter. He is planning to visit his mother with his daughter. He tells her mom that he is going to divorce his wife. Upon hearing this, his mother becomes a little worried for him, but now he has made up his mind, so she doesn't tell him anything about it. Upon returning home, he starts reading the same book that he used to read for Hanna. In the next scene, we see Hanna, who has grown older with time. Her days are drawing nearer. Meanwhile, she receives a parcel that was actually sent by Michael. Inside it, there are some recordings. When she listens to them, she hears Michael's voice. Michael is reading the book which he used to read to her. Listening to his voice, Hanna is transported back to earlier times, and she finds a sense of peace that had eluded her for a long time. She listens to the same recording throughout the night, and every week, Michael continues to send her a new recording. One day, Hanna goes to library and she comes back with a book, and she tries to read the words written in it. Perhaps she realized that education and literacy are as essential as daily food for a person. One day, Michael receives a letter with "Thank you" written on it. Michael understands that this letter is from Hanna, so he becomes somewhat emotional after reading it. On the other hand, Hanna gradually learned a little bit of reading and writing. Therefore, she often sends letters to Michael, but he does not respond. Perhaps Michael was afraid, which saddens Hanna. One day, Michael receives a call from a prisoner who informs him that Hanna is going to be released because she has spent more than 20 years here. But we have been told that besides you she has no one to whom she knows, so it would be better if you arrange a home and a job for her. The following day, Michael goes to the jail where he meets Hanna. After 35 years, he grasps Hanna's hand. He tells her, "I found a job and a home for you." Upon her inquiry, he reveals, "Yes, I did get married, and I also have a daughter, but our marriage didn't last long and we separated soon." Saying this, he begins to leave, but Hanna had hoped for something more from him. However, she had seen in his eyes that this wasn't the same Michael as before. This realization deeply saddens her, but Michael had carried this wound and memories with him for many years. After overcoming great difficulties, he had finally moved on, and now he didn't want to go back into those memories again. Therefore, perhaps he did so. A week later, Michael goes to jail again to bring Hanna back. When he goes there, he is shocked to find out that Hanna has committed suicide. This news devastates him internally, making him wonder if what he did was wrong or if what Hanna did was wrong. The jailer tells him that Hanna had left a note for him, in which she mentioned some money. She instructed him to take the bundled money and deliver it to the last survivor of that camp, whose name was Ilana, and this was her final wish. That same day, he travels to America, where he meets Ilana and tells her everything about himself and Hanna. He also gives her the money, but she refuses to take it, saying that he should donate it to some Jews NGO, as they are in greater need of it. Seeing the love in Michael's eyes for Hanna and learning the whole truth, Ilana's heart fills with emotion. Time moves on. It's now 1995, Michael's daughter has grown up. He takes her to a place where someone's grave lies, and as he removes the leaves from the top, it's revealed that the grave belonged to Hanna. His daughter doesn't understand anything, so Michael tells her that when we're between 15 to 20 years old, we always remember the things we did during that time. It's during that phase we also experience the intoxication of first love. Unfortunately, sometimes we can't meet that love again, and the one whose grave it is, she was my first love. With this, the story comes to an end. So friends, Hanna spent 20 years in jail, but she never attempted to take her own life because she had a hope. But when she comes to know that Michael's love for her is not the same as before, her hope shattered, so she made this decision. That's why it is said that hope keeps a person alive. So, my question to you is, in which age did your first love happen? Be sure to comment below. See you in the next video, and thank you for watching.